Hello, and thank you for tuning in. Welcome to this pick a card reading. We will be looking at the energy surrounding the Virgo full moon that is happening on Saturday, February 27th of 2021. If you find this video at another time and you really feel drawn to one of these stacks of cards, you're welcome to listen anyway. I did intend that if it finds you at another time, it'll still be valid, but we are reading it now as we reach the full moon. It's tomorrow when I'm recording this. So full moons, they're about releasing things, and Virgo is very much the sign of the healer, of taking care of ourselves and our health and our surroundings and really getting grounded. So this reading will be focusing on what we're healing and what's assisting us in healing that. So if you were drawn to one of these decks, feel free to click on the timestamp in the description below. Otherwise, you are welcome to listen to all of them as well. There will be bits of wisdom for everybody. Great, so here we are with group 1, who chose the amethyst stone. Let's dig right in. What are we releasing? We have complicated, lust, and fragment. I'm just going to get all the cards on the table before we go into them. We have naked. And then from the skeletal tarot, we have the 10 of cups, the 3 of cups, the 6 of cups, and the Prince of Wands in reverse. And then to clarify, we have the 6 of Pentacles. So because of the cards complicated and fragment, I feel like this is something that maybe is karma carried over from a past life. And so it's a little bit confusing and convoluted, and it feels like one of those things where there's like more to the story, and maybe that's why it's more difficult to heal, or maybe feels like the path to healing is a little bit foggy, like, unclear. But it does have to do here with lust, and I think that goes extra strong with the naked card here, even though, this is really a positive card, and the cards that we have paired with it are all really beautiful too. The 10 of cups, that's like, with these two together, this could definitely just be pointing to like a little bit of hedonism, and especially with the 3 of cups here, it kind of gives me the image, especially with the Prince of Wands over here, of like going out and drinking. Like we have 3 cards here of like people drinking, so it sort of makes me think of like going out and like trying to meet people at bars or something, or like using that to sort of try to fill you up when you're not going to meet people who you most likely that you want to stay in your life for a long time at a bar, especially if it's romantic. So say you like got out of a relationship and you're looking to replace that feeling, but it's almost like you're looking in the wrong place. And this might be a theme that you've experienced across your life where, you do go out and you meet someone, and then, you think that things are real and serious, and like you got, really lucky, and then you come to find out that it's just the same thing as it was last time. And it's because each time when you get into that place of pain or loneliness, it's like you continue to just sort of go back to those same places that are just more low vibrational. And that's not to say that you can't enjoy that, obviously. But it feels like this might have been something that you picked up even in like your teenage years with like the 6 of cups here. So this can talk about something from early on in life, or also past lives too. So that would definitely go along with like the fragment and the complicated card. But it could also just be a coping mechanism or strategy for meeting people that you've had since you were a young age. And so maybe you're just conditioned to, think that that's the way that you meet people and get to know people, but it's also the reason for this cycle of pain. So that's kind of what it's trying to draw attention to for you. The way through it is the Naked card. So Dare to Bear All, this card talks about being your authentic self. I really love the imagery on it. You know, it does tie along still with the Lust card because this person's literally naked. But it's really just talking about being true to yourself. And I think too, because I really do feel like this is relational, like, you know, within your relations with other people, which, I mean, that's always what karma is going to be in a sense, is like how we relate to other people. But it's calling you to be more authentic to who you really truly are, instead of maybe who you were when you were younger, or maybe who you were in a past life that maybe you're not even aware of. So it's like there's an aspect of yourself that is being hidden and maybe covered up through, you know, these surface level relationships. And it's because something isn't being faced within. And this doesn't really necessarily seem like a super painful reading, you know? It feels like maybe you still are getting joy from doing these things, because all of these are positive cards. Like, this is like celebration and being with, you know, people who make you happy and enjoying, you know, a good time. And that's the same with this 10 of Cups card. 3 of Cups and 10 of Cups are both like celebrating and being with people you love and that you cherish. You know, 6 of Cups is just very sweet and tender. It reminds me of like, you know, childhood crushes. And I think it's obviously something emotional, since you've got 3 Cups cards, and then you have with the Prince of Wands, I don't know if you can see that, but it's a guy at a bar with like a leather jacket slung over his shoulder, you know, hitting on this woman in high heels, stilettos, and a red dress, and you can just kind of get the vibe of what's going on there, you know. So I feel like looking at this group of tarot cards, there's like a healthy way to do this and an unhealthy way. So this could be like a very, very slight way of altering your lifestyle so that this is being expressed in a more healthy way. And that could just mean hanging out at like a different club, you know, or like choosing to gather with the people you love in different places that are maybe a little bit more high vibrational, or maybe a little bit more in touch with who you really are. You know, I'm like kind of like imagining like going to a dance club where you don't even like the music, but you go there because that's where like the people that you wish you could fit in maybe would go, or something. Or yeah, like you just think that you might meet someone there, but would you really want to meet someone at a place where, you know, you don't feel like you're being authentic, or like you're authentically enjoying yourself in the first place? And I think that's the key here, is you want, you know, when you meet somebody, you want to already be whole and complete and enjoying yourself without the need for them to fill something within you. Right, and I think that's where the 6 of Pentacles comes in, because that's like equal give and take. But if your cup isn't already filled up on your own, you know, and that's why you're going, because you're lonely and you're like seeking something outside of yourself to help you, you'll attract that from someone else too. And so I feel like that can, you know, attract like a codependent relationship, where you're trying to fill something in yourself and you attract someone trying to fill something in themselves, and that just doesn't work. You know, that's not like the setup for a healthy relationship. So I think the key here is, since these are all very positive cards, really, is to find the healthy form of expression for each of these things, you know. So actually being with soul family that actually get you, that aren't just there to like fill the void, that actually fill like, and not just soul family, but like things that fill you up on the inside emotionally, that aren't like a person, You know, like these are definitely relational cards, right? Most of these are relational cards. But I challenge you to find the joy of these cards without an external source. So feel the emotional fulfillment and prosperity within, by yourself. Feel the celebratory feelings and, be able to dance by yourself. Be able to celebrate life and express gratitude for life by yourself. And enjoy time by yourself having fun. The Six of Cups, let's see. Do something nice for yourself, because in this card, it's like this little skeleton is giving a flower to the other skeleton. So, take yourself on a date. I don't know, if you're feminine and like to get your nails done, take yourself to do that. Go get yourself a massage, buy yourself that thing you've been wanting. Take yourself to that place you've been wanting to go to. But do it for you. Don't do it for anybody else. So I just want to read this fragment card before we wrap up here. I feel like that's going to tie it together. It says, sometimes it seems that life is split into so many parts, all of them separate and difficult to bring together. Family, friends, work, study, activities can all seem unrelated to each other. My child, you are always whole. Key there, you are always whole. Even if at times things feel separate and fragmented, that is only an illusion. Choosing this symbol reminds you that all the moving parts of your life are important. If the one you're asking about seems confusing, focus on the one that brings you clarity. So I'm going to interrupt it right there. Find that clarity within yourself. Other people can really help us come to the wisdom that we need. But you're being called to be more self-reliant. Like I kind of said with these cards, turn it in on yourself instead of seeking it from somewhere else. Be here now and know that I, Nyx, love you and see you as beautiful and whole, regardless of how disconnected things seem. Also remember to take a step back when you're trying to understand something. Maybe looking at only one piece of a giant puzzle, a fragment of the truth. See the big picture through my eyes, and no matter what, all is well. So yeah, you're being called to acknowledge what makes you whole and complete in yourself, and to place your focus there internally rather than externally. And in doing that too, it'll help you see the internal space of somebody rather than the external. And so it won't, as you have this inner transformation, the people around you might change. And then you'll attract two people with that inner substance you're looking for rather than an attractive outer substance. And bringing it back to the first card, first card, complicated, just know too, these two are very intimately connected, that even though things might seem confusing right now, just know that it's all playing out in a way that you can't even comprehend right now. That is better than you can even imagine. So it all absolutely happened for a reason. If you recently went through something, and it all is leading you somewhere really great, and just trust that with all these moving parts that might seem fragmented and not connected, that they are all intimately connected in this divine web of life. And that as you just slow down and go inward, it'll suddenly start to piece together around you. It's almost like I'm seeing a body that's been shattered into multiple parts, and as you go in, they start to meld and become connected to one another again. And then as you're connected with yourself and whole in that way, then everything will just sort of start to make sense, and all the synchronicities will start appearing again to lead you towards something better for you. So I feel like the main message for this group and what you're healing when you see this video is that the healing comes from going within rather than reaching outside of yourself for something. And especially if you are someone that is looking for love, just know that it starts with going in first rather than going out. Okay, so thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a wonderful day. Okay, group 2, welcome to your reading. Let's dig right in. What are you healing at the time that you see this video? We have fulfillment, elevator, King of Swords, and then to clarify, we have the Lovers, the Page of Cups, and the Hanged Man. So something that you might be healing is, I just want to start and say, like, these are all really positive and beautiful cards. So I feel like this process is going to be a lot easier for you, and you might already be actively doing it. So this is just a confirmation that you are moving in the right direction. So the fulfillment card talks about, obviously, like being filled up with the fine things, or what actually, and so, okay, there's one side of it that is a healthy fulfillment and one side of it that is an unhealthy fulfillment. And what I feel is that you're moving from the unhealthy realm of fulfillment to the more healthy realm of fulfillment. So on the unhealthy side, this could be expressed as an imbalance and like hedonistic qualities. So like indulging. And again, remember, all of it's about, you know, like what quantity, you know, like moderation is what I'm trying to say. So like eating fine foods is not a bad thing. Eating them all the time, you know, indulging all the time in fine foods, then you'll begin to develop this taste where, you know, simpler foods no longer satisfy you and you just need more and more, right? Or eating a lot of food, you know, and then exhausting your system. And one that I found too is like eating food while you watch TV. That's the one that, you know, I'm working through right now, because if I want to sit down and watch a TV show, I'm likely going to eat a lot more than I need to because it's mindless. So with the elevator card here saying rise above, I feel like you're just being called to rise above wherever you're overdoing it and falling into hedonism, right? And again, there's an amount that can be healthy, but it's when you overdo it that it becomes unhealthy, right? So I feel like bringing the sacred into what you're doing will help with this. You know, like sitting down with a meal at a table with a candle, turning on some nice music. They actually recommend that in Ayurveda too. So it's just like a nice life thing to do anyway, to help you, you know, really appreciate your food and feel grounded and satisfied. But making the mundane sacred, I feel like, is the way through this. You know, if you're having a glass of wine, you know, holding it before you drink it and just thanking, you know, the earth for giving you such delicious wine, and you know, say an intention over it for the way that you like to feel, especially if you're someone who likes to reach for the bottle, you know, if you're feeling stressed or anxious. Again, I think that's something that a lot of people in today's society do. And, you know, if you're maybe having one, maybe two every now and then, you know, you had a hard day, you want to kick back and have a glass of wine, and that's great. But just set your intention over it, because, you know, if you do it when you're angry, it might just perpetuate that feeling. So I've even found cooking when I'm upset or angry, like I'll cook to feel better, but if I'm feeling angry, upset, the food is not going to taste as good. And I've just found that over time, like experientially, things just aren't as great when I'm not in the right headspace for it. So putting a little bit more of intentionality into the everyday and into the mundane will help bring about that deeper level of fulfillment. It seems like you have a lot of abundance in your life, and you probably attracted that to yourself through good work. But now it's like that challenge of the earthly pulling you back in, and Spirit is just asking you to tap back into that substance within yourself that requires nothing to feel fulfilled and happy. So moving away from fulfillment from physical things to fulfillment with a more etheric, spiritual, and emotional things. Right, and this also I could say is like not just jam-packing your life with things to keep you busy, you know, like I find sometimes I'll go from like listening to a podcast to listening to a tarot video to listening to like a meditation playlist to talking to somebody to, you know, and it's like jumping from one thing to another without any space for silence. And I just feel like that's very relevant here, finding the sacred, the stillness, and just allowing for that, you know, so that we're not overdoing it with the stimulation. So here we have the King of Swords. This could point to that, you know, especially since it's under fulfillment, that maybe the reason that you were filling yourself with whatever it was before to satisfy yourself was because you have an anxious mind. You know, I think of King of Swords is very like intelligent, yes, but intelligence can also lead to anxiety, you know, if you know too much. So because it's swords too, I could say it's like a double-edged sword. On one side you have intelligence that can lead to anxiety, and on the other side you have the wisdom that puts a stop to the anxiety because you have a deeper level of understanding. Right, so it's like both of these kind of, they're good cards. They're really good cards, but there's a healthy side to it and an unhealthy side to it, just like with anything, right? So we'll say unhealthy side here, we have overindulgence because of anxiety. And on this side here, we have fulfillment from a deep inner place that's accompanied with a deeper wisdom and understanding. And then to clarify, we have the Lovers, the Page of Cups, and the Hanged Man. So the Lovers can actually point to having to make a decision, and I think that this has to do with loving yourself and your inner child here with the Page of Cups, because I feel like a lot of times when we're overindulging, it's because we're not wanting to face whatever anxieties, memories, or feelings, or maybe it was even just learned in our childhood, and you're just having to make that decision now. Spirit's kind of like, okay, you know what this action does to you, you know how it makes you feel, you know how it affects your life, and you have the chance now at this really potent energetic time to release it all. And it just takes a little bit of control and perseverance and integrity with yourself, okay? Because you can still choose to just keep overdoing it and overindulging, but you're not actually going to feel that deep satisfaction unless you can let that go. Even though it feels nice to indulge in these things can be, you know, every now and then, but you want that deeper fulfillment. So you're just being called to make that choice. You know, this makes me think of like emotional eating, you know. I know a lot of us, at least in America, learned that as kids. You know, you can eat your feelings. And then we have the Hangman, and he's kind of hanging in suspension, suspended in time. And that's kind of what it can feel like when you're making that transition. You almost feel like it's never going to end, but I feel like this is kind of just like hang in there, you know. You might feel like it almost looks like this page is like saying farewell, like a difficult farewell to something. And it's like the fish, which we could say is like the old unevolved version, right? Like humans used to be fish, and it's almost like she's bidding farewell to it, right? He or she. So it's like you're looking at this unevolved version of yourself that, you know, falls into the more unbalanced, unhealthy version of this. You're acknowledging it, you're loving that part of your inner child, you're loving what it has done for you and the comfort that it has brought you, and you're almost like mourning that part of your life because it might have been like all of your life that you've been doing this, you know, and you might have been getting intuitive hits over the years to stop. And this is kind of like, it almost feels like final call. Like you can always make that choice, but this is going to be like the last point where it's going to be a lot easier for you, you know. Otherwise your life might turn in a different direction, you know. With the Lovers, like you can take this path that you've been on, of overindulgence and confusion and, lethargy, addiction, whatever it is. Or you can take this new path where you're having to release that. That's like the fish in the cup. You're like bidding farewell to it. You love it. You love that part of yourself. You can honor what it's done for you and what it's done for your inner child, and move forward in this new way towards this new life that's going to bring totally different possibilities just because you release this one thing. And you might have not done it for so long because it feels so small, compared to what it could be, but just know that it is more potent than you realize. And again, with the Hangman, you might feel like very suspended in time, like you're almost just like waiting for the magic to happen, or you're just waiting for yourself to go back to it again. But I feel like it'll be a clean cut. Once you do it and you give it a couple of days, you might try to do it again and your energy will have shifted so much that you just like don't want to do it. And if you still have a lot of this fish in you, you might still do it anyway and fall back into it. But if you just listen to yourself and listen to your body, give it a few days to get out of your system. And if you really want to try it again, just try it. And I can almost guarantee you that you're not going to like how it feels, because your body will have recalibrated to this new reality in which you're rising above, rising up, ascending, some might say, past your old cycles and old ways of being that have to do with how you find fulfillment in your life. So that's your reading. I hope that resonated with you, and happy full moon time, or happy day if you're watching this at another time. Hello group 3, and welcome to your reading. Let's dig right in. First card, we have the Warrior, self-worth, email, Queen of Wands, the World, Four of Pentacles in reverse, and then we have the Five of Cups in reverse and the Hierophant in reverse. I'm going to move these up just because I think you might not be able to see them all. Okay. So this, I feel like, could be taken in a couple of different ways. My first immediate perspective is some kind of relationship, because we see a feminine and a masculine here. We see some emotional pain, and then we have the Hierophant also, which talks about usually like higher, I'll say like a higher relationship or like a higher commitment to something. So it can be like a marriage, something with a contract, even like a workplace. And so I'm kind of getting like, this is dealing with the people, at least, that you've had in your life. It could be like an intimate relationship for some of you. It could be a work relationship for some of you. It could be family even for some of you. But there's something like binding that was binding you with this group of people. And I feel like it's coming to an end. If it hasn't come to an end yet, or you haven't decided yet, because how I pulled the World card out, it wasn't decided yet if it was upside down or upright. It's just kind of how it came out. So maybe you haven't made this decision yet, but what it's dealing with is your sense of self-worth, right? So it's been coming into question lately, like what you are or aren't willing to take, how you'll accept being treated and what you'll no longer accept for treatment in your life. It could even have to do with money, if it's looking at a job, especially with, this guy under, he's got his hand on his treasure chest, he's got his green orb, which could look at money, or it could look at love. It's also the color of the heart chakra. And then red on the outside, which could be aggression or even falling into fear, with, it's kind of like reddish orange, right? So this could be that you're no longer in like poverty consciousness, or you're trying to move towards that. And so if you feel like you're still in poverty consciousness, then absolutely this is a message for you to hear right now. If you feel like you're just working through it, then know that you've already done the work. So it could mean poverty with finance, and it could also be poverty with your own, again, feeling of self-worth, of what you're deserving of, right? So you might be wanting to send a message. This could be the way through it for you, talking to the people that are involved with this, whether this is, again, with work or with some kind of relationship. Just be careful of how, I guess, you depart from it or what you say. Make sure that you're being respectful and that you're speaking to whomever in the way that you would want to be spoken to as well, just so that you're getting across the understanding without burning any bridges. You gotta be mindful of how you communicate, because I feel like however you transition now is what you can find, what you move towards is going to be in that same vibration as how you choose to walk away from it now. So we have the Warrior over here, and so again, because this is reading for multiple people, this could symbolize a person in your life who's very aggressive. You could be walking away from that. If that's not true for you, then this is a part of yourself that you're tapping into. And maybe you're somebody who's been more yin, more compassionate, more silent over the years, more willing to take shit. And you're tapping now into this warrior energy with the Queen of Wands here, where you're like the Queen of Wands knows her worth, man. She's like, I'm a fucking queen. I wear a crown. I've got a fire burning in my soul, and I know what I'm worth, right? And so that's kind of the vibe that you're tapping into, almost like this righteous anger, or like righteous sense of worth, really, and understanding of, again, what you will and what you won't take. With the Five of Cups here, there might have been something that happened that really hurt your feelings, and you might have felt like you were crying over spilled milk, but with it in reverse, I feel like it actually was a bigger deal than what it was like made out to be, if this was upright, then, I would be reminding you to look at what you still have, and like maybe it wasn't that bad. But no, I feel like it, because it's in reverse, like there was something legit to this, and you're working through this and getting through this by recognizing your self-worth, and that's helping you move through it, seeing what this situation, maybe that's what these two cups are, right? Is like all this shit happened, and what you're getting out of it are these two cups of realization, more confidence, higher sense of self-worth, being, kinder to yourself, allowing for more love, more compassion, more understanding, more prosperity, whatever it is, into your life through sticking up for yourself. And you're choosing not to be a part of it anymore with the Hierophant in reverse. And these two go so hand in hand. They're both fives. 5 and 5. And then self-worth, also 3 plus 2 is 5. So, all of these really are going together. Because you have this sense of self-worth, that's why you know that, you're not overreacting and you're getting these lessons out of it. I can't help but notice, this person's hand is pointing to those two cups. You can see what you got out of it, and that's like what can help you let it go, is you're like, okay, this is what I learned. It's fine. I release it. There's no more resentment. It's fine, but I'm also done. And that's what this Hierophant is. It's like, I'm done. I'm not going to be a part of it anymore. And then because of that, you're not going to feel like you're defending yourself anymore. You don't feel like you have to like have this energetic bubble around you so that you are just like protecting your energy from energy vampires or from people who are just unkind or aggressive, or whatever it might be. You can see it's like this person's protecting them and what they think is good. And this could be your self-worth with that little box there. It's like, I'm holding on to this piece of myself that I know deserves love and respect. And for that reason, I am done. Okay, so just be, in the way that you communicate this, just be conscious that you're saying and conveying this in a respectful way. and know that it is for your best. Even if you were kind of up in the air about it, say it in a way where you see how all these people's hands are connecting to each other. Say it in a way so that you're not just like, you know, breaking some hands apart. It's like, we're still all in this together. Yes, if this other party wants to talk about it, you're open to it. But you know what you're worth, and you can still say it in a loving and respectful way, but still end this cycle because you know it's no longer what you're deserving of. So that is what I have for you. Happy full moon. Thank you for watching, and good luck with this transition.